The next activity we're going to look at is class activity 4K here. This is on page 95 of your activity manual. So this is about applying the distributive property to calculate flexibly, right? How do we apply the distributive property? So it tells us to use the multiplication facts. 15 times 15 is 225, and 2 times 15 is 30 to calculate 17 times 15. So 17 is really just 15 plus 2, right, times 15 there. And our distributive property tells us that that must be the same as 15 times 15 plus 2 times 15. And the facts it gave us were that 15 times 15 is 225, and 2 times 15 is 30. So I can add those together to get 255. But how do we show that, right? So that's just kind of using the distributive property. But we can go ahead and divide this array that has 17 rows, right? So here we have 17 rows of 15 dots or units in each row. So I want to find 15 groups of 15. So if I split this array right here, I have my 15 groups, and then I have my 2 groups. Kind of fix that line a little bit. So why are they equal? Well, the whole array is 17 groups of 15. And then when I partition it, I get 15 groups of 15. And I add to that 2 groups of 15, right? And we know those must be equal because it's the same array. And so you can see how that would be useful to calculate mentally. But an interesting thing about the distributive property, while it talks about being over addition, it's also over subtraction, because that's just the opposite of addition. So here we see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups, if I look at the rows, of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units, but I'm subtracting one of those. Right, so what this is telling me in my picture is that I have 6 times 10 minus 6 times 1. Right, if I take away one of those, which means really I'm looking at the total that there is for 9. And so notice what I can do with this equation here, right? I have 6 times 10 minus 6 times 1. Well, that's just 6 times 10 minus 1s by my distributive property, which is really my answer to 6 times 9. And remember that 6 times 9 is the left-hand side of this image. So we can also distribute over subtraction, is what this shows me. Number 3 is going to ask you to mentally calculate 20 times 15 and use that to calculate 19 times 15. So it says, without drawing all the detail after we draw the equations, make a math rough drawing, right? So we have 20 times 15. We know from our associative property last time, that's just 2 groups of 150. So that's 300 total units. And so if I have 19 groups of those 15, 19 groups of those 15 is 20 minus 1 group of those 15s. So that's 300 minus 15 gives us 285. So I'm going to draw a very rough picture. So I have my 20 here. And then I want my 15 here along the top. And instead of looking at all of those, right, I want to take one of those away. So I have one that's taken away, and there are 19 that are left. So if I look inside there, right, my unknown must be the whole array, 20 times 15, which is my 300, minus this one array, or this one row of the array that gets taken off. So I'm going to subtract one of those groups of 15. Right, so 20 groups of 15, take away one of those groups, leaves me with 19 groups of 15. And 300 minus 15 is 285.